Oh, hi guys. It's been a while since we have seen face to face, and I thought that we should do that this time round. I didn't want to just go straight into talking while painting, so like a voiceover. I just wanted to say hi and how you guys been doing. If you've not been here before, my name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and I love to share what I get up to in my art studio and also what I like to create. So yeah, welcome here. If it's your first time, hi, and if you're returning, thank you so much. Also want to thank all my subscribers. You guys are awesome, and thank you so much for the comments as well. So I really appreciate all of that. I also wanted to say thank you to Layla, who asked me a question that I'll discuss while I am painting for this segment, and I really appreciated the comment and I really enjoyed thinking about it. I always love thinking about things when people ask me about my artwork and why I do what I do and why I'm inspired. So let's get straight into the painting for today, and I'll chat while I go through that. But yeah, thank you for being here, and let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome to the painting session. I am trying to think of what I'm going to talk about while we're doing this. I decided to start filming myself as I'm recording, and we'll see how it goes, because I'm definitely going to have gaps where I don't know what to say or anything like that. But I'm going to jump straight in and start adding some colors here so that I can bring these two sides together. This is the back page, or the front page I should say, of my sketchbook, and I thought I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it and start adding some of the art on this side as well. I had a hole in this part of the sketch, which was stuck to this other side, so I've just basically collaged over that. And I'm going to have a relaxed painting session. I haven't got any serious plans. I can see that there's a turquoise color on this side, and I will bring that into this other side at some point. And I decided to go with an owl today here. So I am just going to be carefree about this and use my paints whichever way that I am inspired. So maybe I should add the turquoise in right now. I'm just going to get the turquoise. Let me just find where it is first before I launch myself across the studio. Be right back. I have a whole range of paints that I've been using, and so I am basically just playing around with this. I've just realized as well, on this table I do not have a palette, and I'm really enjoying using the palettes recently. So I have another sketchbook. I want to use the outside of this one, so maybe I'll skip that for now and I'll just use another one. I'm going to use this diary I have here from a long time ago. So I am just doing this ad-libbing as I go. Let's see if this will be a turquoise-like color. So what I've been doing is I've been using the surfaces of my sketchbooks as my palette knife, because I want to have a whole collection of them, kind of showing different journeys I've had on the way with my art. So I think that will be fun. So just using whichever old books or sketchbooks that I have and going with that. So also, here, I have black ink. I'm going to use some black ink to get some of these lines in. So some things will dry faster than others. I am fine with that. And I'll make all sorts of messes. So I just want to start outlining this character I have here, which you might not be able to see that clearly, so I'm gonna put him in here. So what time are we at right now? I'm just gonna check my time. Right, so that is 25 to 10, so let's do 25 to 11. So Alexa, set timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
So I usually do that, and then I am kept on the right track. So yes, what would I want to talk about for today, for this session? I have been thinking about so many things recently, and working away and sharing my artwork here on YouTube is quite hard. I am creating shorts and I'm posting them. I'm trying to get traction on my viewings, and I get so many different comments from people that are so encouraging and keep me inspired to keep going. And so I've been still holding on, creating these videos and working away and enjoying myself in the process. I am just sharing what it is that I do, but also trying to think of how to get more people to engage in my YouTube channel. And it's not easy. You can stress yourself out. And I think I may have mentioned in the past that I don't want to be someone who strives, who is dependent so much and so obsessively with this whole process of sharing my artwork. I feel like sharing my artwork is something I want to do. I don't want to get desperate about it. It is reaching some people and they are communicating themselves to me and letting me know how they appreciate it and everything like that. But at the same time, I just feel like there's so many more people out there that I want to be able to share this time with. And so that's what keeps me going and still sharing the different shorts that I'm doing and all sorts of stuff. Trying to share more in the week as well. So I've been I've been trying to do snapshots to get that going as well. So yeah, just different ideas I have for how I would love to share here on my channel on YouTube. So trying to get more views is part of that. But then at the same time, I need to remind myself that I'm really enjoying this process and having fun creating artwork, and that I shouldn't get obsessed with, trying to get attention for my work in all sorts of ways and all sorts of manners. So I need to just focus on getting on with the artwork. And that's what I've been trying to do, is just to get on with it. So I also remembered that in a previous channel I was trying to start here on YouTube. I still actually have that channel, but what I wanted to do was start another channel where I was doing classes like this, or segments like this, if I want to call it that, because it's not like I'm specifically talking about what we should do, though I could do that at different times. Was that I wanted to share the process and then talk and then show you as I'm doing it as well. So that's what's happening here. So that channel, I'd started doing this, sharing my face and working on a piece of artwork at the same time. But then I stopped doing that because it became too much. And this is what I'm saying. How do you balance what you're trying to share with others and then your health as well, not overdoing it? Just in being able to remember to enjoy what it is that you're doing and not losing track of the joy you have. You can be trying to give somebody else joy and then you lose your own joy. It's like you need time to refuel and all sorts of things and to rest. So I had to kind of go, right, okay, I can't be doing this on more than one channel at the moment. Maybe later on, if I had really very diverse thoughts of what I want to do with an idea, then I could go ahead and go back to that channel. But I decided to migrate this side of things and bring it onto this channel and film like this, where you can see me and you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully get so much more comfortable that I start being able to explain things a lot better and be more in sync with what I'm doing. So yeah, this is something that I would be doing myself anyway, experimenting and seeing where my artwork goes. So bringing you along is fun. It's just fun bringing you along in this and seeing the different struggles. Sometimes you paint something and you're like, oh, that doesn't look good. But knowing that the paint will dry and I can paint over it. So right now she looks very moody. And see here, the ink is playing into this as well. Just looking around to see if I have any spritzers near me. I have about 3 of these spritzing sprays, so I don't know why I don't have any here. I think I've moved them around. I've been tidying my studio, so things have traveled to places that they weren't before. So I want to add some other colors into this. I think I put too much of this paint out. So what I've been doing is putting it in the lid of my gesso, like that. And then basically, once it's in the lid of my gesso, gesso cover, I just have it there. Ooh, I should swap this over with the blue one. Unless I really stick it down, because it should not fall into my cream. That would be terrible. if I just plonked into the middle of my cream one. I think I'm going to switch the covers because I've put some gesso with some blue in this one, so I won't mind if that goes into that, but I'm going to just switch the covers. I'll just take that off and put this for my creamy one. I put, what was this, cadmium yellow, a little bit of that in here. Actually, it's more than I wanted to put. I could put some more white gesso in here, but so that's what I'm using as the creamy color that you can see instead of plain white. Though I do have white, still some of it in this blue as well on the edges. So, but what I've been doing is putting in the covers so that I don't waste it. And then sealing that for next time. It might drop into it. I don't know. We'll see. I want to add some other colors. What color was I wanting to add in here? Let me see. I'm going to put some more ink. I've been discovering that I really love working with inks, which I'd always done in some of my past work, but I have used up most of my inks and I didn't want to start buying more until I really need to buy some new paint. So part of why I say here on the channel is that it's really good to use different mediums, because then you learn what mediums you like using, the speed that they dry, the effects you can get with them. So I'm just spreading this color around. I want to be able to use different tools that I have, and some of my tools I've realized I've not been using recently, so I'm bringing some of that back in. I have a rolling tool that is missing at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up and I'm going to get one of my palette knives, and then there was something else I mentioned earlier which I seem to have forgotten already. Hopefully it'll come to me at some point. I'm going to get my palette knife so I can spread this around, and then if the other thought I had comes back to me, I will get back to that. But you can see what I've done so far from where we started. So yeah, I haven't got any thoughts about this painting that I'm doing right now. All I had was the flash idea of, you know, making this painting spread across this page here. So that is what we're going with. This whole time I'm spending is going to be letting areas dry as well, so I'm not too stressed about that. As long as my brushes are not, you know, getting dry. So I've got that in water to get some moisture and to wash that off. And then I'm thinking about what colors I want to bring back in. And sometimes you do let this dry, because then when you come back, it's a new layer and colors are not feeding into different parts. I can let some bits drip like I'm doing right now. They can drip across. You could actually close the page. Let's try that if I can do that, because let's see what this does. Welcome to the studio. This is how I work. I just experiment. And wow, so that went somewhere else. But you've got new textures. This will also help it to dry faster. So this is like another thing, because if you have thinner layers of paint, everything dries faster. So this has now added some interesting smudges in it, and you're starting to calculate how you can problem solve things if you didn't like something, or if you're totally horrified by what you've created. But I think that's really interesting. And it's taking paints to places that I could have used my brush, but then it would be a brush effect. But this has now brought out some textures in areas that I find really interesting. So yeah, while this is drying, I am going to look for some of my other paints. Oh yeah, I wanted a spritzer, didn't I? I think that was part of the conversation. So right, I'm going to get the other tools I mentioned. I'll be right back. I have my little spritzer here, and I'll use that at some point. I've got some woodies that I can use to draw in this as well in different areas. You know, when it's dry, there's so much we can do with it. I've got my other turquoise paint here, other brushes that I can use, palette knife. pens. There's different things in here that I can use. Oh, this one as well, my wedge, the catalyst wedge. So there's that. Let's see if there's anything else interesting that could come out of this. I'm just going to put this down here. So different brushes, tools. I have this as well, which has some, what would I call it? It's got some Prussian blue in here that I cut my tube in half because it was basically almost running out. So trying to squeeze it out is really hard. So what I usually do is cut it in half. Then I have these kind of clips, clips to hold it, to keep it moist a little bit. I might spritz some water in there and keep it moist, but use it within a couple of days so that it doesn't get too dry and get wasted, because I want to use every bit of paint that I can. So now this is here, and I could have dried this if I've set up my dryer, but I've not done that. So I'm going to start trying to work in some areas to bring some things in and start adding some more bright pinks. I think I'm going to do this session for the actual hour that I've set aside instead of cutting it down to, like, you know, speeding up processes, because then I can't talk to you and process what I'm thinking. So this is kind of the idea of what I'm trying to start doing of late, and yeah, let's see how this goes. Also, I wanted to share something that one of the subscribers mentioned to me in the last week. So actually the last couple of days that while I'm filming this, but I'm just going to look at my iPad and see if I can find it, because I'm filming with my phone, and it's a lot accessible more in my phone, but I'll try and see if I can figure it out on my, and I will probably insert here somewhere the question and my answer, but I will again just discuss it. So let's see if I can look it up here. I'm just letting this dry. Let's just have a chat while I'm doing that. Here we go. I think I found it. So yeah, Layla, one of the ladies that just found my channel, I think, and asked me a question after looking at some of the shorts I've been sharing here in the channel. Hopefully she's also watching some of these videos as well that I'm sharing with you. But she asked a question. So she said, I have a question. What is your art inspired by? Hope you don't mind me sharing this, Layla. What is your art being inspired by? And is there a specific style of art you use or mimic in your paintings? So that was what she asked me. Is there a specific style of art that I use or mimic in my paintings? And as you can see here, what I've been leaning, actually what I've discussed in the last videos over the last months, has been to try and use technique, to focus on the process and not think too much about, you know, the subject matter, or, you know, be too hung up on that. I know that I wanted to work more on portraiture, on faces, and I looked at the details I'd like to include into my artwork. So sometimes it's a bit more precise if I use my projector. Other times it's not. I'm just kind of going with whatever and then adjusting along the way, you know, tweaking the face. And then sometimes I want to add animals, sometimes not. Maybe just even a butterfly or like a bird. This is an owl here. And I'm always thinking barn owl when I think of owls, because we have those here in Scotland. So she's asked this question, if I have a specific style of art, or do I mimic some paintings, or yeah, what is my art inspired by? So I wrote a long response, but I'm just going to read what I wrote, because let's just start there. If I want to expand on it, I will. So I said, hi Layla, my art is inspired by storytelling. I love to tell stories, and I love animals and nature. As you can see, I've got an animal here. I love the nuanced interpretation of people's experiences of adventures and innocence of childhood. So in my storytelling, I love to think of adventures and situations that might not be possible, but to a child, anything is possible. So the limitations we have as adults when we get older, I like to basically knock that out of the park and have this situation going on where I can do anything. In my paintings, in my sketches, I want to be free to do whatever I want. So that was what I meant by their adventures and the innocence of childhood, and the childhood reactions of all that's around them. Overall, my personal experience and view that art follows for freedom of expression. So I'm thinking about my own experiences. There's things I would experience that you wouldn't necessarily experience. And so that being the case, then you can put that into your work. There might be things, on holidays that you went with your family members and you really enjoy those holidays. You might love to then interpret that in your work. Maybe the colors that you remember from that trip, or maybe if there were boats or landscapes that you liked. There are things that you can add to your work that will be unique from mine because of your experiences. So I try things out, and if it doesn't work, I paint over it. And also my advice to new artists, that's not necessarily that Layla is a new artist, but I'm saying to anyone who's starting art, I encourage you to try every medium because it lets you tell your story in the best way possible. Because when you learn the flow and the way that different mediums work, you are more likely to be able to tell your story and interpret it as closely to what it is that you're envisioning. And so my favorite mediums are acrylic, and I like to collage, like I did a little bit here on the eye. So those are my favorite mediums. And so all the above that I've just mentioned will influence your style. So that was what I said to Layla. And it's just what I feel is how to look at it, is work with the mediums. And when you start to see what comes out of those mediums, you will be able to start working on your own ideas. It will just come out a lot better because you get inspired by what you're seeing in front of you. You might use something in a tool and it looks like water. And because of that, you're then able to create something that looks like a scene that has, water in it. So what example can I give of this? If I use some of this paint I have here and I just get some of this cream into it. So this isn't the color of water, but I'm trying to get like the colors to kind of blend a little bit. So if I drag this across like here, there's like a bit of a design. I'll come closer on the camera. So now I've dragged this here and there's an effect created by overlapping colors, not blending them fully in, but getting them to work together to create something. So I could maybe put a little bit of that again. I'm trying to think where, maybe in her face, like here, and get some of that in there. So and move this around. So these are the kind of things we can do. We can use the techniques to get our artwork to where we want it to get to, and to be able to describe what it is that we want to interpret. So it's a lot of fun to play around with your materials, the different tools you have. It really, really works on developing your ideas. So so what was I saying? I just had a little pause there, but so I've added this here and now I've got that effect. So what else could I add to this piece to bring out some other colors? I also have my bright pink here as well that I want to use, so I'm going to put that on my palette. But I also remembered I want to use my my apron, so I'm going to put that on before I end up putting some paint on my jeans. Though these jeans I'm wearing are older ones, but I'm not really in the mood to start painting myself at the moment. So let me just get this on. I'll just make sure everything is recording. The technicalities of bringing about, filming, basically, of filming. Technicalities of filming is not easy. So so I've got that on, and let's start adding some other colors to this. So some sound effect for you there. And just get in with my brush again and start working on areas. What was it? So I just kind of, ideas pop into my head of what colors I want to use, and I just go with it. So let's see. I'm going to use some of this paint and into the eyes here. So what I'm looking at when I'm looking at this piece is how to consolidate certain areas. Like I want to get the eye to be a bit clearer again, but this is still all wet, so I don't want to go into that too much at the moment. So it's trying to look at other areas and work with that. So layering with acrylic is so much fun. And this all takes time, so I don't know how far we'll get in this. I could use a thinner brush for this so I can put quite a few layers on it. Sometimes I like to add floral elements in as well to an art piece. So there's so many things that you can do. And playing with color as well. I love playing with color. Starting to introduce some warmer colors in here. And I'm trying to keep some of the effects because I really like some of those. I'm playing around with this. So yeah, I encourage you to create artwork yourself. It is so much fun. But obviously there are different ways to be creative. And also I think I wanted to add some leaves and things. So some random areas that just look like leaves. This brush is not thin enough to get the effect I want. Suddenly I'm thinking I want to have a green in here somewhere. I'm thinking about feathers and how feathers work and the mix of colors I have on my brush. So we've got some purple here. Let's introduce some of this purple to some areas. As soon as you start adding certain colors, things start to change and go in certain directions, which is so interesting. I just want to bring in some of this pink, mixing it in with my purple. So it's going to be a little different, but not very much. Because that's something else I've been looking at, you know, using colors that are similar next to each other with only a slight difference and building that up. And mixing another color in here. It's more of a muddy color. So there's different peaks coming through of, and it's like trying to think if you're working from dark to light. And I want to kind of get that kind of marbled effect again. So I'm trying to think where I want to add this. With the feather detail coming down the beak. I'm going to be adding some other colors. So it's been a challenge painting on this sketchbook with these rungs, but I don't mind. Challenge accepted. Because when I look from afar, I want to be able to see the owl in this, so that's fine. And another thing is when you're doing the painting as well is getting the characters to blend in with their backgrounds. Like it's kind of a abstract realism approach of where some of the face is more realistic than other parts. So it's kind of like playing around with that. So I'm trying to bring some of the similar colors in to the owl and then into the girl. And going around adding different colors so that it's not all the same. This is really diverse. If some areas are muddy, you can always paint over that again. I want to bring in some of the orange, a bit more of the orange here. And then sometimes as well I'll scratch into areas. As I said, the process. So you don't think too much about what it is that you're doing. Obviously putting your marks down. But if you take too long, you won't do it. So I just kind of go, pink there. And then I just chuck it down. Maybe that pink will do it. And the thing is, it's building the layers. You're carrying the color across. So it doesn't matter. So this is like a suggestion of hair. I don't want it to control. I've been finding that a lot of my paintings, I am really controlling them, and I'm not really happy about that. So I'm trying to be a bit freer and not control them too much. But it's hard, it's very hard. It's really hard to not control stuff. Like I'm doing now, it's really hard. I want to kind of have this thing where there's like areas where there's colors that are very similar to each other. So I need to use my palette a lot better and mixing colors that I can use, and then the way I'm using my brush as well. So I feel maybe that the background and the foreground are not very, what's the word? Not clear enough, so I'm going to go back in and use some more of this black to help define some areas. Because I want some areas to be a bit more defined. I'm not sure about the face. I'm still trying to think what else I could do to her face that I would like. And then thinking about her hair here as well. So the owl, because of the page, is kind of like a bit discombobulated. The beak. Actually, I'm just remembering that the beak is also supposed to be within like the actual owl's neckline. So I'm going to try and define this face a bit more. I feel like it's in too much. I could use a brush, but I don't want to do that because it's a hard one knowing also where you put your neckline. If I used an original painting instead of doing my own, I would have a bit more of a guide on that. So this is completely like abstracted. I like that design there. I'm trying to think what else I could add in here. A bit more scratching, or maybe another color. I don't want to take too much away from the colors because I wanted them to go across, but I feel like this turquoise needs to be a bit better. Let's see what happens if I add this blue. Right. Also, I think brush wise, let me just try another brush because there's so many ways to do this, right? So I'm using a filbert, and because things are not dry, it's a lot harder to work out. I might want to like add in some flowers somewhere, but I need to really take control of a lot of areas. So maybe put this across. So this brush is quite dry, and I haven't put it in water before I put it here. I'm using it here. I'm adding some blue. So I think I'm going to claim back some of this face because I really feel like it's not doing what it could be doing. So I'm going to claim some of it back. So the different brushes, you get different techniques with them. Let's see what happens. I'll add this here for now. Just get rid of the excess on my brush. I want to actually make this area more visible. I was trying to push the neck back. So let's just add this here. So let's blend it in a bit to this. I'm going to just hold the tissue in my hand. I want to be able to clean this brush. So something has changed already, just pushing this neckline back and making it less visible. Here I want to add some more of the cream, probably. So let me just see, what does this blue look like? Added that blue, let's see what this blue looks like. This was what I added originally, this blue. So let's take some extra off. So trying to leave the brush marks as well, not get rid of them completely. And going in different directions with the brush. Trying to think of where the lines are going to make a difference. Where are they going to make a difference? So I like all these areas here where I'm starting to... And using acrylics, this is why I love it, because it dries so much faster. It just does, and it just helps. But having the patience to build the layers is where you now come into having similar, but not exactly, similar results to oil paint. So I'm trying to now kind of separate where the owl is, like its face, its beak. And I'm starting to try and do a little bit of a concentration on it. This is not a realistic owl, to say the least, but the point of this is to get the impression. For me, I work with impressions of things. so it's not that it has to be exact. So as I'm going with this, I'll be trying to think of what else I can change. And if areas have dried, then it's a lot better. But I think I'm just smudging some areas currently. So I'm trying to think where else I could put some more of the green or the black paint. Just going along as always, figuring it out as I go. Do I want to bring any of the open acrylics in? I don't think I do because, well, actually, I love the I can never say this. Quinacridone. Oh, finally did. Right, I'm going to try and see what I can get out of this. But open acrylics, basically, they take longer to dry. So this is the closest you're going to get to already pre-mixed paint that is kind of like trying to mimic the slow drying aspect of oil paint. It still dries faster than oil paint, but and I'm really bad for mixing my paints with other paints. I love taking them straight out of the jar, I'm going to be honest, but let's see, I just mixed it in with some of that purple. So I'm bringing in some of that. So actually mixing it with ordinary acrylics will make it dry faster. So I'm bringing it slowly into other areas of the painting, and now add in a different element. I do love using the filbert brushes. So painting takes time. And then trying to gone quiet because I'm thinking about adding just different areas with I'm going here with some of the pink into the orange. Where will I add this? So it's kind of just building and building. I'm not talking as much because I am adding to the character. This nose is not going the way I want it to go. I don't like the way it is right now. Usually I'm very aggressive with the colors I put on this. So let's see. I'm using cool and warm colors, which is not good because then it is conflicting over here. But for some reason I can't stop myself because I want to see what it looks like on this face, so I'll just keep adding colors. But yeah, this is the front page of the sketchbook, and this is the first paper page, and that's what we're doing. We're just basically going along and adding to it. I want to add some more cream on this edge here, so let's see, is this the one? Yeah, This is acrylic. So I might use my catalyst wedge just to get some of that effect. I've got this as well, which is a catalyst wedge with like a handle. So maybe I should use that because it'll just get into the corner better and I'll get some smooth effects. Look at that. I love that. That is so, as a block color, it's just filled in this area nicely and well, I like that a lot actually. It's making it a bit peaceful up here. So that looks pretty cool. I'm going to add some of that in here and also make it a bit more peaceful here, like some areas for the eyes to rest. Let's see. Though I was trying to make the barn owl actually like barn owl color. I might bring in some browns, we'll see. So I've just overlapped this. I think I want to take some of those colors into the owl. So this is me using the long handle. And what do I want to do with all of this? I don't want to overdo it because it is starting to smudge. So I might just leave those textures there. I'm going to go in here with some of this. About this area here. It's like a gray, so if I call it like a neutral. Wow, look at the tilting I'm doing in this camera. Really working for the art. I think I'll use a brush and then I can get into those corners, like with this gray. Sketchbook painting. I really didn't think I'd be taking it this seriously. Painting in my sketchbook. This has helped me a lot because I always felt that I had to have like a finalized kind of a substrate like a canvas, and it was a limitation. I didn't know it was a limitation until I started thinking, you know what, go heart and soul into these paintings in your sketchbook and create your world. And it has changed my sketchbooks forever, and I'm not going back ever. That was it. I wanted a palette knife that I've just remembered I didn't get because I'm going to scratch into this and I think that palette knife will be perfect. So I'm just going to get that. That was what I forgot. So I've got this palette knife that I'm going to use to scratch into some areas. Now here with the scratching you can do whatever you want. I think I'm going to subtly, oops, let's see how this camera's moving. I'm going to subtly put in some foliage. So I'm going to scratch into this. Some of the background stuff is still going to be there, and I'm going to put some leaves. And then you'll be able to see the color underneath, which might be the actual brown sketchbook or some of the colors that were there before. I'm not really looking at the detail too much. I just want to put some nature in, floral elements. This is more like leaves actually, but they're very simple forms. It's like the more you use the different techniques, you find what you can, how you interpret things. In an easier way or a harder way, you just find stuff. So I am going to put these leaves in some areas randomly, just scratch them in, and the story will speak for itself through that. There we go. And some even here as well. Speak. So, not scratching everywhere. So yeah, being able to go in and not fiddle too much with places, you know, once you've put something in, trying to leave it alone. So I'm going to use this palette knife to just do some stuff, play around, see what else I can add to this. As I said, the process. So now I'm using this tool. And let's just add this somewhere here. So this was not very useful, that bit. I'm going to add some cream into it. This in a bit. It's very saturated. I don't mind. Mix some of the blue and the pink together. The blue might be quite a warm, neutral color. Just dull the pink a bit. So like here, I don't want to make things too overly worked. I don't know. I like the textures. So I could let this dry, and then once it's dry, then I would come back into it. But I think I might use some more, maybe the green. Let's go in here with the green and work on adding some more layers. I could add also some foliage with the green, like some leaves. So I really love drawing with these inks like this. It is very awkward, it doesn't always work very well, but it's like stepping away from the brush and using a tool again. So I keep saying it's to just make everything a step further away from control, and then you end up getting something that is unique, and that's the fun part. So yeah, as I said before, trying to get views here on YouTube, so please feel free to share it with others you know. If you want to ask me questions, please do let me know as well. I do also have a website you can contact me on, and I'm happy to share and share any information that you want. But there's more about me on my website. I don't talk about my website enough, I realized, on this YouTube, so I wanted to be a bit more proactive in my discussions and what I'm sharing here on the channel. So that's what I'm doing. Also, I wanted to add some dots. How should I do these dots? Let's see, what is this? There's so many things. I have like my white. It's over there. So let's see if this even shows up. Oh, it is showing up. So let's add these. And I could smudge them if I don't like them. This is a, let me just see what this is again. This is a Lumiere Jacquard. It's a pearlescent emerald metallic acrylic paint. So I've got something there. I feel like I'll probably smudge it, but I'm not going to. I just love some of the areas that look really, really overlapping with pattern and all sorts of things. So I've put that there, and I'm thinking, what do I want to go over it? Where's my, I might wait till it dries mostly and then do something, or should I mix some areas in? I can never know. I wanted some kind of spot effect or something. I don't know. Let's do something over here with some of that color as well. A couple of spots, I'll leave those, but the rest is just getting spread around. Don't know if I like that. Feed it in there. So let's add some of this in here. Yeah, there's a lot of marks in this that I really like. So, and then scratching into areas like I'm saying. Scratching into it again. Let's see. But yeah, I think that this is fine. I think if I went any more into it, it's like I would need to let areas dry and I would end up just basically smudging things. I don't know if I wanted to add any white to any more areas or anything like that. I think I'll leave it the way it is. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I enjoyed this. It was a bit stressful talking to you guys and working on this at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. But I enjoyed it a lot, and hopefully I can follow through with this template of recording with you guys here on my channel. But we'll see. I'm not sure how I look in this, and I've just realized this light is in here the whole time. I'll probably crop it quite a bit. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I have enjoyed myself. And this is another page I now have in my sketchbook. My sketchbooks are going to be so exciting by the time I finish them, because having all these different stories, conversations on the pages going on, is just going to be inspiring for any future work that I do. So I'm really enjoying working in sketchbooks. I feel like I'm creating whole new paintings every time I sit down to work in the sketchbook. And probably one more thing I would have added in this is because I've been wanting to add words as well. So I would have to find an area that I could write in here, like maybe this area here, I would put some wordings in, maybe with a Posca pen or something. I'm really hoping to get like a whole bunch of Posca pens by the end of this year, like a lot of them, because I feel like that would help with my working on these paintings. I really love to draw, so having a kind of a pencil thing in my hand as well to add the writing, add the different marks I want to add to my artwork will be amazing. So yeah, smudging the two together was a really interesting dynamic. I'm tempted to do it again, but no. I did that, and then there's a time for that. But that's what you could do at the beginning of your paintings, is you could smudge your pages together with different colors at the beginning, and and then work on it after that. But I really love, I think the timing that I did for this was the right time to do it, because it really did something here on the side of the face. So I love that, because it's like not redacted, but there's like a conversation to be had, as in, you know, the character now looks a specific way, so you're questioning, oh, why is she looking like that? Is she being honest? Is she not? Is there something else going on? So I love this dynamic and throwing the animals together. That's one thing I've been trying to figure out, is how to put my different characters together on the same page, because sometimes I feel like there's too much going on when I have like a bird and a face. So sometimes I've been focusing just on the face, or sometimes just the bird, so, or the animal, like my jellyfish one, which I'll put a link up here for that, or also like the chameleon one, the different videos. I'll put my channel link up here so you can look through the different videos I have here on the channel. But yeah, this was epic. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Please do check out my other videos as well here on the channel, because I am slowly trying to improve on how I share with you guys here on the channel. If you have any suggestions, please do let me know, and I am going to be going off to edit this, so we'll see how I do with that, and I'll use up the rest of this paint probably with my next video that I record as well. I actually haven't had breakfast yet, so this is me before breakfast, because I kind of have it slightly later, so I decided to do this first. So, but yeah, thank you so much. And as I said before, my name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and here I love to share what I get up to in my studio, and this was fun, and I hope that you learned something from it, and that it inspires you to create your own artwork. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now. And also check out my snapshots that I put through the week of different things that I do here in the studio as well. But thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye for now. Bye.